We are live for the very first time, and I am super excited. Hello, my name is Keith Pitch, and I am with Loan, and I am here today with co-host Stacy Vallier. In the wrong way, Stacy.
Hi, Keith. Thank you. We're excited to be here. I am the manager of Washington State for Loan Depot, and our team is in King County, Pierce County, Snohomish County, Skagit County, Thurston County, Kitsap County, and Spokane County. And so what we would like to do before we kick off this event is to challenge the whole panel, Nicole, Erica, Marty, and Darcy, to help us get food into our local food banks for those counties. So for all of you watching, for how many of you people are watching, for the comments, we're going to be donating cans of food. We will be offering porch pickup. So more to come on that if you all out watching us want to get involved, but we want to support the counties that we work in.
Absolutely. We want to support, the reason why we brought Real Estate Now to the forefront, Stacy and I were talking about how we can best serve our folks out there trying to navigate the world of real estate, buying houses, what the market's looking at. And I said, let's put together something like format similar to this. So we're jumping in and we're making it happen. So today we wanted to have this conversation revolve around the mortgage market is open, the state market is open, and business transacting right now, but it's not business as usual. There's a little bit different is going on in the market, as we can all we're all staying home. So we put together a panel of 4 experts here today, from real estate agents to title and escrow folk and mortgage side of it, but really helping you guys understand what the full force of today's market looks like. So I want to bring in our panel right now. Joining us from King County is Darcy Hardy with eXp Realty. Hi, Darcy. Hey. And then up to our north, we have Hardwick with North Net, and she's helping us. Erica, good to see you. And then on the title and escrow side, title sales, we have Nicole Hardy with CW Title, and then Marta Drobin, WFG National Title, and she is the lady in charge of Washington Escrow Services. So really, I wanted to put together this A-team because we are the high-touch professionals that every single person right now in King County, Snohomish County, the greater area, buying and selling real estate, they're working with us hand in hand. I want to not belabor it anymore, but jump right into our first questions. Our folks out there that are going to estate transactions, I want to say, in our current stay-at-home we've got going on, people are feeling unsure. They may have out of real estate altogether. So now that we've settled into our fifth week stay-at-home order lifestyle, how is the real estate market reacting? Darcy, why don't you kick us off here?
Has it only been 5 weeks? It feels more like 5 years. Every single day it's been different, and it's such an interesting time for us right now because it's almost a seller's market and a buyer's market. There's so few houses on the market that sellers are able to sell them pretty quickly, but at the same time, rates are still low. So buyers are able to get out there and buy at a cheaper amount than they would have otherwise. So it's a really interesting time for us, and you have to be with a realtor that is on top of their game because every day it's changing.
Yeah, full disclosure, Darcy and Erica went to this panel because they're actually transacting real estate right now, been boots around helping their client with transactions. So your guys' experience right now in today's market is extremely invaluable. So thank you for joining us today. Erica, how are things going up in Snohomish County?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Numbers are really tough to totally understand until you get the raw data and actually start looking at what is going on. And then just as important to that is actually creating a comparison. Well, how does that look compared to what we've experienced in the past? Because otherwise a number is just a number. And we start to hear these national numbers. Well, that doesn't actually apply to what we see going on here in Snohomish County. We have Boeing right in our backyard. And Boeing is doing some pretty interesting things right now. And how will that affect us and our marketplace versus, say, what's going on in Ohio or Illinois? That creates that national number. And really what's important to us is to look at what's going on here. So you also, I couldn't agree more with Darcy. Like, you need to have an agent who is on top of their game and watching those numbers so that they can keep you informed.
And there's a certain amount of, the numbers completely agree with you, but as the market changes, there's a certain amount of feel to it for us realtors. When you're really active, you get a feel and you get a sense of the market changing that you don't see in those numbers because there's a lag on the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well,
do one of you guys want to kind of jump in and add some color to how the builder market is impacting what you guys are seeing?
Go for it, Darcy.
Yeah, so there was so little inventory before, and in our state, builders are not allowed to be building right now. Because of that, there's going to be a huge catch-up game. There's just not enough homes. So we're seeing this in King County left and right. The builders are struggling. The buyers, the demand is there, and they're just not allowed to build right now.
Yeah, I'd love to add to that regarding Snohomish County. So, and I'll give you a very specific story. Coming out of 2019, Q4 of 2019, we did not have a ton of inventory on the market. And as you know, in our area, new construction slows down in the wintertime. So we were hoping that this spring we would get this nice flush of new construction and we get some of those completed. We could start moving buyers in. I have a listing that they're waiting until their new construction is complete. Well, it's not complete. It won't be complete for a while. And so now, not only does that impact their family, right, because they're waiting to get into this new construction, but it impacts the family, whomever they are, who we haven't met yet, that is hoping to buy their house. So it really creates this lag in the marketplace. And I think Darcy hit the nail on the head. Unless you are going face-to-face with buyers and sellers right now, you don't hear those stories. You don't hear how it is impacting the wait and see as to where am I going to live.
Yeah. And to that lag time that Erica was talking about, I saw a statistic yesterday that every single real estate transaction affects the economy approximately $86,000 because of movers, painters, escrow, agents. There's a whole list of people that it affects. So if things are lagging behind, it's going to hurt our economy.
So also a number that was lagging behind, Erica, we talked about this earlier in the week. You wanted to share some extremely low inventory numbers or just maybe a snapshot. The other interesting situation that we're in, there's a lot of recession talk, right? And so I wanted you to have that opportunity to share our conversation we had earlier this week.
Yeah, so that's the one thing, like when I'm meeting up with people who are getting ready to sell and kind of learning more about how they're feeling and what questions they have, the most common question I hear is, well, is this a bubble? Are we going to see the same thing we saw in 2008? So it led me to wanting to do a little bit of research. And the first thing, I'm ready to share if you're ready to release your.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. So the first thing I wanted to look at was exactly what was the history of the marketplace and what's happened over time. When we've had other recessions, I wanted to see, well, what was going on then and how does that impact us now, potentially? So if you look at the last 5 recessions that we've had, 3 of the 5, we actually came out of them growing our home values. That's pretty impressive. And more importantly, over time, we see this nice, steady increase in the marketplace. And the growth of the home values is astonishing, actually. It actually is quite impressive. Investing in a home will definitely grow your money. But let's specifically look at the last time we experienced the issue with furloughs and recession. That was in 2008. And that was when we had the concept of a housing bubble, the burst that occurred. So I wanted to look at, well, what exactly were the numbers March of 08, and how does that compare to the numbers of March of 2020? And this is pretty astounding, you guys. So there were 8,166 homes for sale in Snohomish County. Of those, 784 went to pending. They actually received an offer and went into escrow. It was taking about 58 days for homes to be sold. So this is early in the 08 experience, right? This is before we really kind of dwindled down and things started to slide. So it really should be a pretty accurate comparison. So let's just take a quick look and see how that compares to 2020. Remember, it was 8,166. Now we had 1,500 houses. That's it, that were available for sale. And we gobbled up 1,236 of those by putting them into a pending status. It was taking 6 days to get things sold, and things are selling for 100%. The next number there, the home sold, that's this one with the little house. 1,135 homes became a sold status. That is a reflection of what happened in February. So that is 30 days later, right? Those entered into a sold status. So really what this is telling us, guys, is that homes are being literally scooped up. They are the equivalent of the toilet paper aisle. They are being gobbled up off of the shelf and disappearing, which means that we are running out of homes for people to move into.
You know, I put a house on the market in Sammamish yesterday at about noon. By the end of the day, I already had 5 showings. Today, I have, I think, 7. Before this, I had 7 showing requests already. It's amazing.
So it kind of walk us through what a showing looks like in today's environment.
That is a great question. So it really depends on whether the home is vacant or occupied, because when the home is occupied, the people that live there have to be kind of considered in that situation. A lot of times they're just going to the garage, or they are going in to sit in their car or stand outside the home. Fortunately, we've had good weather, so it hasn't been that bad until yesterday. But for when we actually show up, the agent walks into the home with one person, shows the home, and then that person goes back outside. And then if there's a second person, they go in with that person. Only 2 people are allowed in the house right now, and you have to remain about 6 feet apart. Gloves are on, masks on. Oftentimes there's hand sanitizer. We have wipes wiping all the doors and light switches as we go.
So do you require, or do you ask the homeowner to have the doors open and the lights on and that kind of stuff? Because we're doing that on our side when we talk about appraisals. So just wondering if you're seeing that when you show homes.
If I have the opportunity to talk to the homeowner to schedule it, I do ask them to turn all the lights on and have closet doors slightly open so we can use our foot or our elbow or something to move it the rest of the way. The other thing that we're seeing is I'm requesting, and this is our brokers asking us to do this for our own safety, I'm requesting that I see a pre-approval from the buyers before we show the house, because the lending environment has changed so much. If they had a pre-approval before COVID, doesn't mean that they're still approved now.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point. Definitely.
As someone who has,
go for it, Erica.
As somebody who, I've shown one of Darcy's listings, so I would love to speak to, what exactly did I experience when I arrived? First of all, she had encouraged the sellers to vacate the property. She intentionally encouraged them to say, hey, this as a vacant home will be a better, safer environment for you and your family. I would suggest if you have a place to go, I want you to make it a vacant home. So that it was vacant when we arrived. The other thing is that she had done a great job. All of the pictures were done with staging, but staging is going to be pretty tough to sanitize afterwards. So by the time I had gone to show it, all of the staging had been removed, but we were invited in by those great pictures. So that was super smart. The other thing that she did that I thought was brilliant is she actually did not hang the key box on the house. It was actually separate from the hanging on the door handle, which meant that I wasn't holding the door handle so much. So little things like that are really creative, and sellers that are out there, we've got great ways to make the environment as safe as possible, and you just really have to trust your agent that they're going to know what they're doing.
You know, Erica, it's so kind of you to say that, but I have to tell you, that was virtual staging.
Wow.
So, nice. You know, I love to have a home really staged to the nines when I list a home, but this is not the environment for that, because you can't sanitize it, and having people come in and out of the house to stage it is just not healthy. So having an amazing photographer take fantastic pictures and then knowing the right companies to go to for accurate virtual staging can make all the difference to get those clients into the home.
And it fooled me, obviously it's good.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I wanted to take this moment to double back to Darcy's comment about being in today's market. It's super important for the protection of everybody and sellers and listers, and that we have bona fide buyers out there right now. The mortgage market has so fundamentally changed in the last month and a half that there's been a lot of retraction as far as program availability. There's been a lot of different changes to loan to values, credit score requirement, reserve requirements, like after you close the deal, how many months worth of mortgage payment do you have in there? So, I mean, Darcy, you hit the nail on the head. Approved buyer in February is not a pre-approved buyer in March, possibly, and may not be a pre-approved buyer in April. All of us have to do our due diligence in making sure we're communicating at a high level, and all those buyers out there are pre-approved. Stay linked in with your mortgage professionals, because things are changing daily, and I foresee them to continue to change daily. And especially in that jumbo market above the high balance loan limit of $741,000. Once you get north of that, that has completely changed upside down, and we just have to be really vigilant right now for everybody involved. Number one, to keep them safe, and number two, to make sure that we're not setting those false dreams and hopes of buying that new house only to come to the end of the road and it doesn't work out for our clients. We want everybody to be successful, and we can find success in today's market. We just have to be really, really vigilant. So,
you know, I showed a for sale by owner the other day to some clients I'm on. And as I was doing so, and I get that people want to save money, so they do it. I don't think it's a smart thing to do for many reasons, but I get that it happens. But it had me thinking a lot about how the questions that I ask a lender when I'm reviewing an offer with my clients has changed so significantly in the past few weeks. A for sale by owner, they're going to have no idea of the changes in the market and how to protect themselves there.
Now, in addition to the lending side of it, from a for sale by owner, like our title and escrow experts right now, no one's going to, oh my gosh, if a seller is trying to navigate this right now solo, the title and escrow process is completely different than even 3 months ago. So I don't know how in the world, I mean, I feel like I'm constantly learning new things every day, and I do this for a living. So I can't imagine.
Well, Erica, we've got the experts on the line, so let's talk to them. Marta, things have changed a little bit here in the last month and a half, have they not?
Absolutely. And I think I'd love to give Nicole the stage, because you were going to have her talk about, she's actually out in the field helping the escrow teams facilitate the signing appointments. So let's start with that.
I mean, we were thinking earlier this week that you're actually physically going to the houses, doing some really unorthodox things with our clients just to keep that social distance. What does a signing look like right now?
Yeah, so I think the two words that have changed in our industry are that kind of work on our safety and sanitization. Because before, if you've got a client that's having the notary come into the home, where we go in, we sit with the clients, we'd have all the paperwork. Well, now we are telling them, open your garage door if you have a garage, set up a table if you have a table,
Wow.
or if you don't have a garage and you have a covered area because of the lack of sunshine right now, it's just where can we be dry, but we are outside of the home. The clients, the sellers or buyers, they get their own pens to use the entire signing process. Masks are on the signer's face. So we want the clients to feel extremely safe. So we're doing a lot to make sure that that's happening, especially if we come in, we're not in their home, but we are at their home. And then if they're coming into an office location, an escrow office, then we are sanitizing the entire room. We are keeping the 6 feet distance. We are making them feel, again, safe. Everything's been wiped down before and after. So lots and lots of precautions. We actually have been leaving our front office door open so people don't feel uncomfortable even just grabbing a door handle. So, yeah.
It's all in the details. Absolutely.
Is anybody doing the, for Nicole and Marta, RON closings? How are those becoming more popular?
Yeah, I'm sure Marta, you could speak to that too.
So
well, what's the RON closing first? A lot of people won't know what RON stands for.
A remote online notarization. And remote online notarization was passed legislature in a few states. It wasn't in the Pacific Northwest yet, but we're pioneering in other ways. So remote online notarization we had utilized for seller signings. Very easy. It's like a Zoom call essentially with some authentication, of course. And now in today's environment, I really feel like what's happening now is a catalyst for us to really revolutionize the closing process and encourage clients and customers to utilize the remote online notarization with RON. So best practice, and it's changing that narrative. It's like virtual staging with Darcy, right? You change the narrative with the consumer and you say, for your own safety, yes, we can send a notary to you. Yes, you are welcome to come into one of our clean space environments like Nicole described, but we would really like to see a movement towards utilizing RON as much as possible. In Washington, for example, we were set to have RON available to everyone in October. Governor Inslee expedited that and gave us an exception to utilize RON at the end of March through actually midnight this Sunday. We're hoping for an extension, but it is something that we're pushing heavily, not just with the sellers these days, but also we're partnering with our lending partners to make sure they're set up on platforms, that title and escrow companies are set up on proper platforms to essentially enhance and change the consumer experience on the signing process, which ultimately is going to be faster, it's going to be streamlined, and it's going to be a much safer way to interact.
That was great because, I mean, we've sent out that closing disclosure and the mortgage documentation 3 days prior to them going signing. So hopefully all those questions about the documentation or the structure have been answered, and we can just get straight to business and get that one for them. That would be a great thing. We did have another question that came in about earnest money. You've got buyers out there getting under contract, and now they got to get that earnest money to you guys over there at the escrow office. How are they doing? They're not walking into your office right now, are they?
No. So yeah, I mean, there are a couple options. What we have to be careful about is every title and escrow company, because of what's happening, is thinking through and vetting processes, anything from depositing earnest money via secure portal to depositing seller information forms. A lot of people are familiar with what those are, via secure portal. So enhancements are being made. Also we're encouraging people to access flyer instructions securely, to deliver their deposit of earnest money. So anything from a video snap on your phone, wiring from your bank directly to escrow. There are some instances still where somebody is not savvy enough, doesn't feel comfortable enough using their laptop or their phone, and we do send a courier out, but it's not a preferred method for us to do that. And so the only thing I will say before I hand it over to Nicole for her perspective is, with all these changes, I just want you to know, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but cyber fraud has risen, has gone up since the COVID atmosphere in March. So something to also put in your narrative with the consumer is to say, when you're making your final deposit, make sure you're doing it the right way. Make sure you're talking to the trusted escrow title agent that I put you in touch with. I mean, eventually, the hope is that we will have a very holistic way for consumers to conduct business, where we as the trifecta, from the agent to lender to title and escrow, will feel like one holistic unit for the consumer, right? So they can make their deposits via the same portal, they can see the transaction revolve via the same way. But for now, while we're just kind of piecing that together, I would say exercise extreme caution.
Yeah, I love, Marta, you covered that perfectly and beautifully. I think that's, I think our biggest fear is, and we've heard the stories we all have in this industry, just with the wire fraud happening. So I just so encourage, especially buyers and sellers, it's like, make sure you're communicating with your real estate agent. I think you mentioned too, Darcy, I think that is the challenge when you don't have that representation, of just really making sure this is my escrow closer. I got an email that with wire instructions, and I think we're so rapid case right now with the fear of maybe losing that loan to close the deal, that people are just getting caught up in that. I got to do it right now, and just reminding them to pause, contact your realtor, contact your lender, make sure that escrow company, make sure there's nothing funny or weird. We've definitely seen a huge uptick, and it's really scary when somebody buyer wires all their money in their savings account and then it's just gone. So want to be mindful.
You know, I don't think the end consumer, so the person buying, the person selling, always understands how much goes into every single step of this. So when they say something like, gosh, we can just deposit our checks by taking a picture. The bank can do that. Why can't escrow do that? Well, sometimes they can, but it's not just escrow's choice. There are so many federal regulations around it. There's state regulations. There are so many things that need to be done to protect the consumer that it's not just flip a switch, oh, we can do this. And you know, I have been so amazed by title in this whole situation, because people don't realize how much they do to research a property, right? Mm-hmm. And not all of that is digital. And now the offices that they have to go to are not necessarily open to them to go to and check things out. So they're having to figure out a whole new process in order to give you the same product that you've had before.
I totally agree. Like, I hear a lot about how teachers have completely changed the way that they're doing business and the business of teaching. And, you know, we are all joking about how homeschooling is so challenging. Teachers have completely ratified the way that they're doing their business. And I have to say, not only teachers, but really unsung heroes in this is actually the lending community. They took single site offices and had to distribute those out to home offices in a secure way. Same with escrow, like the way that they're doing their business right now is so radically different from the way we used to do it. And I understand, obviously, I think we need to sing the praises of teachers, of course, but we also should be singing the praises of these financial institutions and also title and escrow for what it is that they're doing, because it really is absolutely astounding how it's changed.
Well, and Erica, you are so kind. And I think, I don't know how, I'm sure Marta feels the same way, but it's like all these things that we've been wanting to do technologically, it's just pushed everything forward. And you're like, yes, like the county counties are not letting, people walk down, and we can't actually physically deliver all their closing paperwork. So we're doing e-recordings, which has been amazing because our teams are like, we're getting recording numbers way faster, which what does that mean for the consumer? They're getting their recording numbers way faster. As a seller, you're getting your money faster, same day, even sometimes the money gets dispersed. So I hope we continue some of these technological advances that I think everybody feels happy about. And then also, I think we've all noticed like the human aspect is still needed in such a big way.
Absolutely. I think the human aspect, I'm sure we all have done this to some extent, that there's been a lot of questions of uncertainty, and the real heart of our right? So for us to be able to continue to facilitate these transactions and get these individuals and people onto and into their next house, it's an amazing thing to be able to do, facilitate in the state that we're in, staying at home and dispersed over 6,000 employees throughout the country, Erica, to your point, to continue funding the thousands, tens of thousands of loans. We helped over 19,000 clients, customers, families, households last month in March. Stay at home month. We helped over 19,000 folks facilitate their mortgage and a better financial future for themselves and buy that house. So all for our clients and making sure that their journey on wealth and home ownership is as uninterrupted as possible. It's awesome to have all you guys on this call today, and it really fills my heart up. So thank you very much. I don't want to go too far past a half an hour. I do have the crystal ball question left. May 4th is quickly approaching, and to Senator Mr. Inslee's last lives, I'm going to be in place a little bit longer. There's a little mess, but let's all things work out May 4th, that we're coming out of a full-on stay-at-home, have a little bit more restrictions and a little more fluid movement. What does it do for housing? Who wants to start?
I'll go. First of all, let me wave my magic wand. Bippity boppity boop. So based on the supply and demand, if we just take standard economic drivers, this is Econ 101. The amount of supply that we have is so incredibly low. And the amount of demand that we have continues to be quite dramatic, actually quite high. So just purely based on supply and demand drivers, I would expect that we see home values continue to rise. I actually think they're going to continue to grow pretty significantly into the end of summer and fall. I think we'll probably level off again at wintertime, which we do every year. That's not something new or different and has nothing to do with COVID. The other little thing that I would say is that we'll also create some new norms. I know that nobody likes to keep hearing that new norm, but I think we'll create some new norms that hopefully will make all of our lives easier and more efficient. So I think we're actually, this could really set us up to be moving ahead. I had a great little quote. I'm going to just give it to you really quick. Sorry guys, hang in there. It was on my tea this morning, good earth. So the quote says, "The problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem." And the speaker of that is none other than Captain Jack Sparrow. So I really think that it's not what we're looking at, it's what we're seeing. And I think we should be seeing some really good opportunities for home buyers and home sellers in the next couple of months. Darcy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that are not going to go away May 4th. People, just because something gets lifted, the fear that people have, if they're afraid of COVID right now, the fear is not going to go away. So things like virtual tours, 360 tours, 360 pictures, getting the request from people to see those before you ever even step into the house. That's here for good. And I'm kind of excited about that. I think that there's a lot of people that have been waiting to put their house on the market until they can physically get out of the house for an extended period of time to allow people to come see it. So I do expect inventory to go up quite a bit in May, June, July. But the buyers are always there where we live. They are always there. There's still people moving into our gray area. So I think that prices are just not going to be dropping like the national news is telling you they are. So really, the national news is not focused on our area. You really need to pay attention to what's happening here and talk to your agent, because your agent's going to have the best knowledge there.
Yeah, hey, I did want to say, I'll make sure that I give Stacy and Keith the link to those graphics so people have access to that. If you really, because there was more information on there. So if you want to, if you're waiting to kind of, how do I find that? We can definitely create a link for that.
Perfect. Yeah, we will definitely post that for you. Marta, Nicole, and on May 4th in the world of title and escrow.
You know, Keith, we've done respectively so much work in setting people up to work from home, and we're doing it well. We're not going to try to deviate from what's working until we're absolutely sure our workers can be safe working back in an office and our clients can be safe coming back into the office. So I think we'll just take it easy and see how it pans out, to Erica and Darcy's point, in Pacific Northwest specifically, and go from there. What do you think, Nicole?
Echo you, Marta, as well. I think we all have the stuff we have in place for safety and social distancing inside our offices, and us from home will stay in place. And yeah, we're just lucky with the market we're in still, and just to have great people to work with. Like,
great. Nice. And I want to thank you, everybody on this panel. I'm hearing that you're already changing the rhetoric. You're already educating the consumer and setting the right expectations in this climate. It makes the cohesive piece of it so much easier when I reach out to a client, or Nicole reaches out to a client, because we have to sign you in your garage if you really want us to come out your way. And then they know that that's not weird anymore, you know, or that we're using a remote online notary. You're going to FaceTime your deed off. Is that okay? So thank you for being, you know, part of that discussion and setting the right expectations. Full circle.
Could you imagine a year ago saying, trust me, these people are great. They aren't just, they're going to come to your garage and they're going to sign you, and you have to bring your own pen, you know, and you won't be able to see their face because this will all be covered. But they're the right people. They're good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to get the hang of it. They're going to take a check away from you.
I appreciate all you guys joining us today too, and I think we here at the Loan Depot Puget Sound team echo what Marta said about our employees. We are remote and it's working, and we are going to continue down this path for some time, and still be here for everybody. And we will. Keith and I are going to continue these panels. We really want to discuss, get into detail about what happened in the mortgage business the last 4 weeks, what's going on with forbearance, what's going on with the builders. I mean, there's, we could talk, the six of us, for the next 4 hours, I'm sure. So it would be great to have you guys back on again too soon. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And just to look forward to next week, we are going to jump into forbearance. We are going to talk about how the mortgage market has changed. And if you have any questions about forbearance between now and next Thursday, please hit me up before you call your lender and ask for forbearance. Very big consequences as a mortgage holder that you need to end that phone and make that phone calls. Again, thank you all for joining today, and it's here. We're open. Let's make the best of this opportunity here and change attitude, like Erica said, towards the problem. So you all, and look forward to having you back on. You guys have a great day, and we'll catch you next Thursday.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.